Hello everybody and welcome back to the FormulaFred Racing channel, and today we've got another episode of Fred's Notebook, Azerbaijan. This Baku circuit, it usually gives us a great race, and this year it's in its new slot after swapping with Suzuka. That means it's given the rest of the field time to catch up so Red Bull won't dominate. Or will it? We're going to do our usual rundown of the teams, and then we're going to get into my predictions. And this time it's going to be slightly different because we've got your predictions to rate as well. So let's get on with it. And for the first time in 10 years, McLaren top the constructors. So McLaren, what a weekend it was for them. Oscar, absolutely excellent race, showing that this boy will not crack under pressure. He was controlled and measured in the first stint, but then as soon as the hards went on, he took that dive bomb down. Absolute audacious move. Got in front of Leclerc about lap 20 or so, and kept it ever since. And almost every single lap Charles was having a go, so he did really well to keep him behind. Taking his first proper win, second overall. Now Lando, he had a poor qualifying, didn't he? Qualified 17th, enough said about that. Started 15th, the race went pretty well. Did probably the best that he could have hoped for from this. He was on the alternate strategy, did a great job just picking off the drivers till he got to Albon, bit stuck there. But then when he was released, absolutely flew. Had a great battle with Verstappen, which probably made sure that he could catch him in the final stint. And when he was in that final stint, wow, his pace was electric, getting the fastest lap. He also held up Perez for a while, which probably cemented Piastri's victory. On to Red Bull, who are second for the first time since 2022. Excellent race from Checo as well. Bided his time really well in the first stint. Got right up into a great position to be able to undercut Piastri, but Norris just managed to hold him up enough, so Piastri came out in front. Then he hung back well behind the front two when they were fighting and was guaranteed the podium. But then went for a move when Charles's tyres were dead, and you're thinking, he's got this sewn up, he's got the fresher tyres because he's not been fighting anyone. He could cruise right up behind Piastri. Who knows what his tyres are going to be like. Couldn't get the move done. Sainz got him on the inside. And then we all know what happened from there. Got squeezed and, yep, out of the race. All that good work undone. Max, on the other hand, wow, he was not happy, was he? In the first 5 or 6 laps, he had good pace, was up with the others. But after that, he was just complaining on the radio the whole time. And to be honest, seemed like he hated every second of this Grand Prix. I think if he'd managed to get past Lando when he'd pitted and Lando was still out on the hards, then he would have finished ahead of him. But no. He managed to hold him up enough so that when Lando came out on those fresher tyres, he was able to close up that 16-17 second gap and lose ground in the championship. Ferrari, Charles, what can you say about him here? Absolute dominant on a Saturday, no one can touch him. First stint, dominant as well. Was flying, pulled out over 5-second lead, but because Perez and Piastri, they pitted first, they closed that gap so close. Luckily Albon was there, just in the way, or else I think he would have got overtaken at that point. Charles was caught napping when Oscar put his move on in corner 1 and then fought him every lap after that, but just could not get quite close enough to get the move done. Tyres died with a couple of laps to go, and we're thinking, oh no, he's done such a great job, he's not even going to finish on the podium. But thankfully, we all know what happened. He managed to defend well from Checo. Bit dubious with Sainz, which pushed him wide, and then we know what happened. And he managed to come through, P2, and a really well-deserved one. Sainz, the forgotten man. He wasn't on the leader's pace in the first stint, or the second really. When the guys started fighting at the front, he managed to just edge his way back in it, and he was there, and you're thinking, cool, he's got fresher tyres, could he get on the podium? And he was right there. And then, like I say, had that incident and out of the race. Really unfortunate for both him and Perez. Mercedes, what can you say about George's luck? I mean, he inherited a win earlier in the season when 2 people crashed. He inherited a podium here. The only thing that's gone wrong for him so far was that disqualification. Probably drove about as well as the car could go though. Got a plastic bag or something caught in the air duct in the first stint, so he was off the leader's pace. Then on the second stint, was just trying to fight back because he had decent pace after that, and then like I say, luckily inherited that podium. Just like all the other teams, there's a tale of 2 drivers here. Lewis, again, hated his car. Didn't qualify as high as George, so they decided to change parts on the engine, give him a fresh run, but even this didn't help. Got stuck behind Gasly, then by Behrman, both of which seemed to just halt his race and managed to just sneak through at the end to get P9. Aston Martin, You're talking about a forgotten race. Fernando Alonso did a great job managing to get to P6, held the gap to the Williams well, and didn't let them get near him. Stroll, wowee, what a poor weekend. But doing his best to make sure that RB don't score any points. Doing his best impression of himself, plowing into the side of Tsunoda when there was absolutely no move on, and then retired later. RB, disappointing for both. I mean, Tsunoda, like I just say, didn't really get a chance in the race, was taken out. A huge chunk of his side pod got taken out by Stroll and was out of the race a couple of laps later. Ricciardo was nowhere near the points, no pace, poor qualifying. Not a lot else you can say really. Poor weekend from them. Haas, wowee. Ollie Behrman, another cracking debut, but for this team, he's showing that he could be the real deal. He'll probably take over Hamilton's place in Ferrari when he retires. By his own admission, didn't use enough of the tyres in the first stint, then in the second stint, managed to keep Hamilton behind him until the last knock-ins, but manages to squeak up the inside of his teammate right at the end and score a point. Hulkenberg just had one of his normal weekends where qualified alright, was out-qualified by his teammate, but he was there or thereabouts, just on the fringes of the points, and then, like I say, just got them nicked off him at the end. Williams, yet another amazing rookie performance. Franco Colapinto, showing some unbelievable skills, making everyone say, should have put him in the car about 5 races ago, and then saved a fortune not employing Sainz next season. He was on a different strategy than his teammate, and made it work really well, only finishing 2 seconds behind him in 8th place, meaning he gets 4 points. That is 4 times the amount of points that Sargent scored in 36 Grand Prix. Albon, yet again, showing he's the tyre whisperer, did an excellent job keeping those tyres in a great working window for so long, and did some great defending keeping Norris behind him. No easy feat. Couldn't quite catch Alonso at the end, but I think he might have been right up there with him if the VSC hadn't come out and neutralised the end of the race. Amazing job by those two. Alpine, solid enough drive from Gasly, a few overtakes, but nowhere near the points. Ocon though had an absolutely awful weekend, and you can just tell from his body language that he wants this season to be over and he just wants to get out of that team. Then last but not least, just like always, Sauber. Trailing around at the back of the grid, that car just does not deserve to be in F1. I can't help but think that Nico Hulkenberg's probably regretting his choice now to swap in 2025. It's going to take an absolute miracle for them not to be pointless this season. After all that, on to my predictions. Let's see how we got on. Prime performer, Sergio Perez. What a great performance from him. Like I say, couldn't really have done much more. Bided his time well. Had a chance to even win the Grand Prix, but that was all taken away from him at the end. But I'm still going to give myself a point for this. That was not his fault. Mr. Underwhelmer, Esteban Ocon. Absolute weekend to forget for him, and another point for me. Pole position, Charles Leclerc, 3 from 3. Don't think this has happened before. Top 3, 3rd place, Perez. Thought this one was nailed on, but no. 2nd place, Hamilton. Couldn't have got that much more wrong, could I? And your winner, Oscar Piastri. Tick. I think I'm more excited about getting a point here than he was winning. Fastest lap, Hamilton, nope. And Fred's far-fetched forecast, I said Sainz was going to get in the top 7, utilising a safety car. No safety car, and Stroll was absolutely awful. But that's 4 out of 8, so we're improving. Let's see how you guys got on. Elizabeth New 7 said, prime performer, Ollie Behrman. What a call. Excellent. 1 point there. Mr. Underwhelmer, Lance Stroll, probably even better shout than mine. Another point. Pole, Sainz, unfortunately not. Wasn't on the pace of his teammate. Top 3, 3rd place, Piastri, nope. 2nd place, Sainz, nope. Would have been there. And her winner was Lando Norris. Nope. Probably would have been if it wasn't for that qualifying. Fastest lap, Lando Norris. Correct. Then her far-fetched forecast was that there was going to be the most amount of safety cars in F1 history. Nope, we still haven't seen that full safety car, have we? So 3 out of 8 for Elizabeth, but that's a solid effort. That's about all we've got time for today. So like, subscribe, and if you want your predictions to be rated like Elizabeth's, comment down below. See you in Singapore.